Welcome to POV, your favorite web political series. And today we're going to be talking mega deals. So you might want to strap in because it's going to be a good one. Let's get it. Now, I think everyone in Zimbabwe can agree that the president really needs to rethink how he gets on planes. Apart from the shocking timing that he seems to have with his flights, I think what really has people riled up about his itinerary is just how expensive it seems to be. The figures are astronomical, to say the least, displaying some of the most exorbitant use of an institution's budget that can only be rivaled by Jose Mourinho. I mean, take, for example, his most recent trip down to Bulawayo, in which he was sent a luxury jet, which flew 7 hours and 16 minutes from Dubai to Harare to take him across the country. That's like President Trump hiring a plane from London to come to Washington to fly to Los Angeles. It make no sense. But shame on you for only focusing on the logistics of the trips and not the purpose. Because we all know that every time the president's plane goes up, he comes back like Money Mayweather with the cash. That's right. We're talking mega deals. Long-term mega deals. You see, since stepping onto the Iron Throne, the president has fired up his jet to broker deals with China, Belarus, Russia, India, the UAE, and strengthened regional ties with Botswana and South Africa. From a numbers perspective, the president has announced that investment commitments to Zimbabwe under his watch have now clocked $16 billion. But the challenge with these mega deals is that they never seem to materialize. The money is promised, but never seems to come. See, here's a fun example you can look at. In May 2018, government signed a $5.2 billion deal with South African firm Cyclone Holdings for the production of over 8 million liters of liquid fuel per day from the Kuda Mangwe. A groundbreaking ceremony for the plant was scheduled for June, with operations expected to start in September. The deal was even granted national project status by the president himself, but alas, the deal turned into complete dololo when eyebrows were raised with analysts saying that the South African company's credentials were suspect. So why do these deals never materialize? Are we cursed? Do we work with the wrong people? Or is it sanctions? Well, this wouldn't be POV if we didn't attempt to answer the question. And so here's what we found. Now, during a hearing last year on the busted Mangwe deal, Parliamentary Portfolio Committee on Mines and Mining Development Chairperson Themba Mliswa said it was a cause for concern that the deals, like many others, didn't get implemented. Mliswa said failure to implement investment deals was common during the Mugabe era, and the new administration seemed to be continuing with the tradition. He would also go on to say, and I quote, "It's a cause for concern naturally because we expect these deals to be implemented. Government also would not have done due diligence on those investors." Two more issues with these deals going belly up were brought up by Bulawayo-based economic commentator Reginald Shoko, who during the same hearing said, "There were also issues of too much red tape in government offices, which is affecting the ease of doing business. The delays have a serious impact on the confidence of investors in the economy, which has a negative impact on growth projections. We are still lowly ranked in terms of competitiveness and ease of doing business." So, due diligence and poor negotiating, red tape, and ease of doing business. Three very identifiable reasons that can and should be easily fixed. Now let's start with due diligence in negotiating. Mega deals start with a high-level understanding of the offers by both parties, commonly referred to as an MOU or Memorandum of Understanding. This is non-binding and has no legal obligations. It is just a conversation. The biggest mistake our government makes is to parade these conversations as done deals. It's like meeting a girl for the first time at a party and having the best convo, and then phoning your mom straight away on your way home and saying, "Mom, I'm getting married." I mean, just calm down, okay? So after negotiating the MOU, from there, each side goes back and works out technical, operational, and legal issues that need to be addressed to make the actual deal functional and binding. Now, that's when the true deal structuring happens. Each side does due diligence to ensure that what they've been offered exists and is viable. From there, investors can then work out comprehensive offers that include issues like what assets are they taking over, or what are they going to control, what liabilities are covered, and how are profits going to be split. After that, the negotiating teams can then correspond extensively, going back and forth, negotiating and changing up the terms of the deal. This is when things usually fall apart, as was the case with the Zisco-Escar deal. In 2010, an Indian company, SR Africa Holdings, agreed to buy 54% in Zisco Steel, with the government keeping 36% and 10% owned by minority investors. The deal was worth $750 million and would oversee the revival of the dormant company. Now, obviously, the deal fell through. Some say it was due to the over-publicizing of the deal. Others blame the Ministry of Mines for them being stubborn with a key component. And others even say that it was just good old-fashioned greed and corruption that ultimately drove the investors away. In any case, competence on our part was lacking. And since then, the deal has found it hard to get resuscitated. Only on completion of all of this, the final deal being signed and investment starting to flow, should a government actually publicly announce a mega deal. Otherwise, it just sounds like you guys are talking nonsense. Okay, so now there's the issue of red tape. Now, red tape is speaking to all the crazy things that someone has to do just to start an investment in this country. So let's say you're a mining company wanting to start an investment or mining operation in this country. You would first need to get a certificate of approval to be an investor. Then you'd need a company clearance and registration from ZIMRA. Then you need an environmental impact assessment that takes months and is at your own expense. And the list goes on and on and on. And part of the issue is that if you've ever walked into a government office past 11 a.m., you would know that this can take months, years sometimes. Also, the process slows down incredibly because these approvals are all done in different offices with poor cross-level arrangements. Then there's the ministry's involvement in overseeing deals, which add layers and layers of toxic bureaucracy to the process. These and other issues were at the center of the largest mining company in the world, Alarosa, packing up its bags in 2016. However, the government has since formed the Zimbabwe Investment Development Agency, or Zeta, which will attempt to house all these processes in one place. But even that has taken nearly 2 years to set up over this long bureaucratic process. Now, last but not least is the issue of doing business. The World Bank Group created a system to help investors determine which countries were best to invest in. The rank and scoring system is created after analysis of important issues starting from business all the way to handling insolvency. Now, once your scores are calculated, you are then assigned a rank from 1 to 190, 1 being great, 190 being nonsense. And Zimbabwe's rank at 155 is below average, which can also be described as not easy to do business. For example, to connect electricity, the group determined it would take 71 days and cost $25,069. The same process in New Zealand, by comparison, the number 1 ranking country on the list, takes less than 9 days. And now we all know when you're dealing with ZETDC, it's not always going to be a walk in the park. So that 71 days maybe is a little bit generous. Now, the scoring system has come under scrutiny with allegations of favoritism being shown to certain countries. But still, it remains a public record of your investment potential. And here's something else. You and me are also a reflection of the potential of investors on public record. Because every time an investor asks you, would you invest in Zimbabwe? Your answer plays a big role in them being able to make a decision. Now, the real question then lies, with all these mega deals that are still in play and all these identifiable reasons as to why they don't always see the light of day, can this regime make a difference to be able to show themselves as being able to push through the barriers of old and look totally different? Only time will tell. Now, the thing about mega deals and investing in this country, considering that we have an open for business mantra, is that the real thing that countries, companies, or investors look at is not your words, your rhetoric, or your policies. They look at your behavior. They look as to whether you walk the talk and can be governed by your own laws. What matters to investors also matters to us. Can you keep your promises? Now, since the beginning of this presidency, a number of promises have been made. Some of them have been kept, some of them have been broken. But what ultimately will determine whether people are willing to invest in here is whether you guys can consistently show that you are different from what we have previously been subjected to and are actually worth putting money into. Now, whether you guys are prepared to do that is on you, because as Zimbabweans, we have done been ready. So, we'll wait to see. This is Kuda Mangwe, wishing you a good morning, good afternoon, and good night.